2023 sales meeting. Lots of exciting stuff to share. Most exciting is that we are almost at spring market. I feel that just seeing the activity that's happening in our marketplaces, it feels like the market is starting to heat up. And with spring just days away, I think that many of us will start to see inventory pick up and business start to increase. As always, I want to remind you for today's program, since you are committing to spending an hour with us today, make sure that you take notes throughout today's program. I always like to remind you that knowledge is not power, execution is power. So since you're spending the time with us today, make sure to write down one or two things that you're going to take away into your business for the next 30 days, something that you're going to go execute on so that you will see the results of your 1 hour spent with us today in the coming months and year. As always, we like to take some time to welcome all of our new and returning agents. We want to welcome Scott to our Northborough office, Anna to our Fairhaven office, Doug in Wellington, Florida, Nathaniel Brown for our Melrose office, Christine in the Salem office. We have Autumn Silva in our Tingsboro office, Peter Shelsey in Melrose, Jen Taylor, Northborough. Very excited to have Sarah McCoy back with us in our Dracut office and Jenny Keefe in Bow, New Hampshire. Welcome to all of our agents who have joined us since last month's meeting. Let's take a look at our February numbers. So for the month of February, we had 160 closings at 69 million in sales volume. In addition to that, our team did about 37 rentals. Let's see how that breaks down. I like to remind everybody that these numbers are based on where the agents are located. So it shows that we did 119 sales out of our Massachusetts offices. Some of those sales are probably New Hampshire sales, but they're agents that are based mainly out of a Massachusetts location. So it comes up as a Massachusetts sale. So 119 units out of our Mass offices, 31 sales out of our Florida offices, and 10 sales out of our New Hampshire based offices for 160 total. We want to congratulate our top teams and agents. I'll show you, by the way, where you can find this information. As you guys know, we sent out an email that we're phasing out our LAER Career Den that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years in favor of our new LAER Agent Services dashboard. So it used to be each month you would see on the LAER Career Den a list of the top 25 agents. We'll talk in a few minutes about where you can see these numbers moving forward and where you can download your if you're on one of the top 25 lists or on a top 5 or a top 10 list, where you're going to be able to download the social media pieces that our marketing team always puts together. So first, we want to recognize for our Massachusetts offices, our top teams by volume. We have the Rogers Mello team out of Chelmsford, O'Connell and Company out of Dracut, Button & Co. out of Burlington, Silver Key Homes out of Tingsboro, and Rose Homes out of Fairhaven. Next, we have top individuals by volume. We have Elena Marchis, says Andover, technically she's in our Tewksbury office. Michael Durkin out of our Northborough, Sarah Lyman out of Athol, Paul Brulette out of Chelmsford, and Cyborak Eric Pond out of our Lowell office. Congratulations. Next, we want to recognize our top 5 teams by the number of units sold. So these are based on our Massachusetts offices. We have Silver Key Homes number 1, O'Connell and Company number 2, Rose Homes number 3, the Results Group number 4, and Rogers Mello team number 5. Congratulations on our top 5 teams by unit sold in Massachusetts. We then have our top 5 individual agents by unit sold for our Massachusetts offices. Number 1, Elena Marchis. Number 2, Diane DiMichele. Number 3, Michael Durkin. 4, Paul Brulette. And number 5, Sarah Lyman. So congratulations to our top 5 individuals for our Massachusetts offices. We then have our top New Hampshire agents. This is our top 5 for New Hampshire, and this is for both teams and individuals, and it's by volume and units. The numbers lined up. So we have Platinum Realty Group, number 1, Pro Homes Group, number 2, the Fulford Group, number 3, Jesse Jean, number 4, and Marie White, number 5. So those are our New Hampshire based off agents. Next, we want to congratulate our top 10 agents by volume for the month of February for Florida. So we have number 1 is Matt McLaughlin. Number 2, Chris Infante. Number 3, Giswaldo team, followed by Jose Alcibo, Darley, Christina, John Slavon, Roberto Ferrer, Brent Balcom, and Stacy Sofel. Congratulations to our top 10 for Florida. And then we also have our top 10 for our Florida offices by unit sold. So number 1 for unit sold is we have our Giswaldo team out of Port St. Lucie, Jose Alcibo, Roberto Ferrer, Darley, Jeanette, Christina, Matt McLaughlin, Chris Infante, John Slavon, and Brent Balcom. Congratulations to our top 10 Florida by units. So as a reminder, every month we put the full top 25. We put all these lists, everything that you just saw, plus we put together a top 25 overall for the whole company. Sergio, is that up on LAER Agent Services yet?
Not yet. It'll be up by the end of the meeting.
So by the end of the meeting, instead of going to grab this information from the LAER Career Den, you're going to go to LAER Agent Services, and you'll see it right at the top where we've been adding all kinds of stuff. So we've basically been pulling everything off of the Career Den and putting it over at LAER Agent Services, just where stuff is a little easier for our agents to navigate and access information. So LAERagentservices.com. If you're on one of these lists, you can download your social media pieces and share the information with your friends, family, and with the world. So congratulations. I want to give everybody just a rundown on what the market is looking like. So just like we did last year, each month when we report our closings, I'll also report where we were in 2022. So we've been seeing for several months that we're all going to have to work a lot harder to do the same amount of business we did last year. The predictions are that there's going to be 20% less sales this year than last year. There's still lots of opportunity, and we're going to recap in a few minutes where the opportunity will lie for great real estate agents in 2023. But just so you could see, in January 2022, we did 236 closings at 95 million. In January of this year, we did 162 closings at $78 million. February of last year, we did 227 closings at 93 million. And this February, we're 160 closings at 69 million. So the numbers, the transactionally, were off by about 30%, which is the industry average right now. We're heading into the spring market, but even overall for the year, many of the economists, real estate economists, are predicting 20% lower sales overall for the entire year this year than last year. So all of us are going to have to work a lot smarter to do as much business as we did in previous years. I went through this last month's meeting, but I think it's worth going through again, because one of the things we're hearing, we get it from just going around talking to our agents and then people emailing into our Happy Agent team. How do I get business? I'm just really slow right now. And usually by this time, I have listings lined up for spring market. So we're going to talk about 10 ways to drum up new business. Since I already went over this last month, I'm going to go through it super quickly. Number one, expired listings in every single market. I know we feel like there's no inventory, and so we assume there's no expired listing. There are expired listings in every single town. So expired listings are typically sellers who wanted to sell and were not able to sell for usually price, or it could be a number of reasons. But expired listings are an opportunity to dig into. For sale by owners. Yesterday, I had to drive out or 2 days ago, I drove out to Beverly, Massachusetts to check out the arrangements for our big event coming up with Tom Ferry. I saw 2 for sale by owner signs just driving around out on the North Shore. So there are still for sale by owners out there. Huge opportunity to go knock on the door, give a seller package, talk about your services. Small bank REO. Many agents, when the market starts to shift, say, oh, I need to go after the REO business. Much of the REO business has been already, the agents that are going to get the REO business, which typically goes to asset management firms, those relationships are pretty much cemented and have been for a long time. That being said, there are lots of small banks and credit unions who have small foreclosure departments. So reach out to those small banks in your marketplace and ask what happens with the foreclosed inventory. I mentioned last month, I have a property I bought last year from a small local bank. So they have inventory that they are looking to sell. It's not thousands of homes, but these small banks have 1 or 2 listings a year that they're looking to sell. Probate. Who is your favorite estate planning attorney? So this is an opportunity to get out there, make relationships with estate planning attorneys as well. We have agents that are great about working with probate, and there are companies like Fiverr where you can hire people to do the skip tracing to get you names and phone numbers for executors and start reaching out on those properties. Number 5, 1031 exchanges. We did a phenomenal program just at the beginning of the year with Lynn Bagby, who has been one of our favorite 1031 exchange specialists. She's been doing it for 20 years. And what's great about 1031 exchanges is that you can go drum up your own business. You can create a customer who doesn't even know that they're a customer yet. If you're not familiar with 1031 exchanges, I highly recommend you go to our YouTube station. It's youtube.com/LAER training. And you'll find in the last 60 days, our training program with Lynn, and she'll go into the ins and outs of how to do a 1031 exchange. Lead services. Can't stress this enough. If you go to our LAER program and services guide, you can get that at laerrealty.com/success tools. That is our 25-page program and services guide. In that guide, there is a page that says lead services. When you look at the page, it shows you that there's a whole list of companies that provide leads to real estate agents in exchange for a referral fee. On the other side of that page, there's a list of companies that charge subscription fees for lead services. At a minimum, sign up for all the referral fee-based lead platforms. These are companies that charge referral fees if you close a transaction with them. Now, are the referral fees super expensive? Absolutely. But it's your job as a real estate agent to collect as many possible referrals as possible and turn each one of those into a referral source. So let's say that you get 10 customers that come through Op City. Wow, those 10 customers. Maybe one will buy a house, maybe none will buy a house, but that's 10 people that you can turn into a referral source for future business. And when they send you future business, you're not paying referral fees on their friends and family who come to you. You're just paying a referral fee if that referral source buys or sells a house. If you are not a member of OpCity, all you have to do, OpCity is owned by Realtor.com. It is a referral fee-based lead platform. We do have agents that close 1 or 2 transactions a year from OpCity, and we also have agents that close 10 or 15 transactions each year from OpCity. So reach out again. It's not necessarily just about the fact that this is a viable buyer. Most of them are viable buyers, by the way, but more importantly, they are the opportunity to market to somebody and turn them into a referral source. Also, Google local services, can't stress enough. We've covered this in other meetings as well, but it's a pay for phone call. So you can become a verified real estate agent through Google and you pay per phone call that you receive. And then Google, go onto your Google and Google real estate leads, because while we've listed all of the ones that we know about inside the LAER program and services guide, there are others out there. So go out and sign up for every type of real estate lead platform you can find. Next, this is going to be a big one moving forward into the next 3 years. That's orphaned clients. When you look at the real estate agents around you, this is across the board. 30% of real estate agents will not be in the business. 30% of agents who are practicing right now will not be in the business 2 years from now. Now, many of those agents have databases of people that they've worked with for 2, 5, 10 years. So make relationships with those agents, referral-based relationships with other real estate agents who are getting out of the business so that you can take over their clientele. Next is partnerships. This is a great opportunity throughout the year to really team up with moving companies, clean out companies, Title V companies, assisted living companies, divorce and estate attorneys, solar companies, commercial real estate firms, and different charities. All of these companies that are listed here have potential buyer and seller referrals. So go out there and find and create your partnerships for these referrals. Events. So the good news is that COVID is, I won't say it's over, but we're back to normalcy. So we can go back to having our VA seminars, our first time buyer seminars, our seller seminars, credit cleanup seminars, senior downsizing. One of the cool things about LAER is we've created all the product for you. You could literally put on any of these seminars tomorrow, and we've already created all of the materials you need for your presentation, and you can find them at laeragentservices.com. You can use your buyer guide, your seller guide. We have brochures, guides, presentations, everything you need to put on fantastic presentations. You should be putting on in-person presentations. You can do them at the office, at a local coffee shop, but you can also do them online. And this is one of the areas, since many agents got away from doing events over the last 2 years, potentially this is where you're going to make up. We said your business is probably going to go down by 30%. So you're going to have to go dig and find where your 30% is going to come to do as much business as last year. And potentially events is one of the places where those additional transactions can come from. And then last, of course, open houses. So there's lots of opportunities to do open houses. I want you to consider that if you're an agent that has no inventory, we do have agents that do have inventory. Just within our own brokerage, we have several agents that have large subdivisions. We have many seasoned agents who carry large amounts of inventory. Think about how you can market yourself to other great real estate agents to convince them that you'd be the best choice for hosting their open houses. Remember, when a real estate agent who carries a lot of inventory has you at their open house, that's their reputation that's on the line. So think about how you can market yourself to other top performing real estate agents to convince them that you're the best option for hosting open houses. And don't be shy. You don't have to stick to Saturday or Sunday open houses. Try commuter open houses. Lots of buyers still attending our open houses. So we heard from Craig today. Craig's lights are still out. So Craig can't, normally our Chief Sustainability Officer makes it onto our monthly meeting to give everybody updates. He just wanted to let everybody know that he's been sending out some emails. We've been putting them inside our Facebook group as well, that there's some events coming up. The NAR green designation, which is in person. Sergio, that's in Mass, I think, right? Do you know?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's in Mass.
Okay, I think it's through the Greater Boston Real Estate Board, if anybody's interested in getting the green designation. And then also they're hosting an online version, Fundamentals of Sustainable Homes. I've seen this presentation of Craig's, it's awesome. So just jot those down and save the dates for those. As I mentioned, I'm gonna exit out of this for one moment, just so I could take you guys over to our new LAER agent services. This is really important only because we are getting rid of, or phasing out, I should say, our LAER Career Den. And we did this just based on feedback from you. So over the years, many of us used the LAER Career Den as our back-end members only site for accessing news, information, marketing pieces, brochures, etc. And I could see that Sergio already updated our top 25 agents and teams. So if you want to see if you made that list, you can head over to the LAER agent services. But also we have been putting on here, you can click view more, all of our new agent announcements, but also the LAER ROAR report. So many of you guys use the monthly ROAR report, our printed newsletter that our marketing team creates for you every single month. That is no longer going to be on the LAER Den. We're going to post it here. So this is a printed newsletter for you guys to utilize. But I also want to go down. I'm going to back up here. If you scroll to the very bottom of this, oops, LAER, I spelled it wrong, LAER agent services. If you go to the very bottom, for some reason I can't see my, there we go. If you go to the very bottom of LAER agent services, you'll see we've also added all kinds of areas with business planning materials, marketing materials. There's a whole section of guides, presentations, brochures. There's a section on classes, meetings, coaching, mailing and marketing companies. So we're going to continue to improve upon this, but basically we took your feedback, what you liked about our old style LAER Career Den, and revamped everything just to make it easier for you guys to access everything that is available for your business. So again, that's all LAERagentservices.com. All right, next up, let me just go back to presenting. As a reminder, we also did a class last month on Algorwin. So you can go to laerrealty.com/Algorwin. Our team put together a killer manual. It's basically a 100-page booklet. It is a growth system. And what our team did is we looked at our highest performing agents, we looked at agents doing anywhere between 10 and $100 million in sales and said, what is it that they do yearly, monthly, and weekly to develop their business and make sure that they always have a pipeline of business? And then what do they do per transaction? So every time they have a buyer, or every time they have a seller appointment, or every time they have a listing, a new listing, and every time they do a client appreciation event. And we put together this AlgoWin growth system. It is a series of 7 checklists. So you'll see the book is divided into 4 parts. The first part just explains what the theory is. It's an algorithm for success based on following other agents. That gives you some of the warnings, like what could prevent you from doing well with this growth system. So that's the first part. The second part is the 7 checklists. So we've created 7 simple checklists, yearly, monthly, weekly, and then new buyer, new seller appointment, listing, new listing, and then client appreciation event. Created all the checklists. We then part 3 set up a system so you can track your success. And then part 4, anything we ask you to do within those checklists, part 4 of the book tells you exactly how to do it. So for example, we tell you that when you're working with a new cold lead, that you have to have a 10-day follow-up campaign. At the back of the book in part 4, we give you the 10-day follow-up campaign, what to email, what to say, what to text people. So everything you need to grow your business is inside this book. If you follow this system, you can expect to close 30 transactions a year. That's why those process tracking sheets are so important, because if you are not hitting the 30 transactions a year, it's because you have holes in your process. You're not following the process. And that's why those tracking sheets are so important. You can download the booklet at laerrealty.com/AlgoWin. Next up, we wanted to remind, so at the end of last year, many of our Florida agents had the opportunity to go to a live event featuring Tom Ferry that was put on through our in-house title partner, New World. We wanted to give that same experience to our New England agents. And with that said, we're so excited to be bringing Tom Ferry, unbelievable trainer and coach, to Beverly, Massachusetts on April 5th. This is a full day event. So we have Tom Ferry in the morning. There's a lunch break. Then we have agent panels throughout the afternoon, and then our LAER awards at 4 o'clock that evening. So this event is for every agent that wants to figure out where they're going to get an extra 30% of business this year so that they could do the same amount of business this year as they did last year. Want to remind you that if you have these thoughts going on in your head, for example, I can't afford the event, then you absolutely need this event. If you cannot afford a ticket to a Tom Ferry event, you need it more than everybody else. If you have in your head that you don't have the time to attend this event, then you need it more than everybody else, because Tom's going to show you how to build your business by design so that you control your business does not control you. If you feel fear about what's happening in the market and how it affects your business, if you're looking for a part-time job because you don't know how you're going to make ends meet this year, these are all signs that you need to be at this event. Now, we have hand-selected the coolest location. Since we invested so heavily in having Tom here, we didn't want to do the event at a hotel and have it be like your typical real estate event. That's why we rented out the Cabot Theater, which is a historic, beautiful theater in downtown Beverly. It's going to be a really special event that most importantly is going to prime you to have a super successful year. So I will tell you that in the first couple days that we put the event out, we sold over 150 tickets, and our goal is 400. It's a small venue, So I wanted to tell you that if you're planning on going, you should book your tickets very soon so that you don't miss out on this event. Now, with that, I want to invite on for a few minutes. The event with Tom Ferry is not possible with some really great sponsors who stepped up to help us offer this event to our agents. I can't stress enough. Most companies right now, you hear all the stuff on the news. People are panicked about what's going on in the real estate world. And so I want you to look around you and look at who's investing in their business. At LAER Realty, we're investing. We say, you know what, the market's a little bit slow, but we're going to double down and give even more to our agents. We're going to bring Tom Ferry. But that's not just us. That's also mortgage originators, closing teams, law firms, home inspection companies. Look around you and see who's doubling down, who wants to help you succeed and is willing to put up. And with that, I want to invite on Andrew Marquis, who is one of our key sponsors for our upcoming Tom Ferry event. And Andrew's going to talk to us about some interesting programs that agents should be aware of in the changing real estate market. Welcome, Andrew. And thank you, by the way, for sponsoring our event.
Hey, thanks for having me this morning, Stacy. Excited to be on. Yeah, and I mean, what you said there was interesting, right? A lot of people are pulling back spending with the way the market is. And really the way our CEO looks at it is we have to go after market share right now because the market will turn, it will improve. And the more share we have, the more referral partners, the more clients, the better off we're going to be when the whole market does turn. So I think in terms of what I'd love to cover today, which is what we had discussed previously, Stacy, is just financial strategies and ways that will really help you navigate the challenges in the current market. Quick intro on myself. I've been in the business 21 years. I close a high volume of transactions. My team and I did nearly $2 billion in loan production during the 2 years of COVID. So I've seen the 2008 crisis. I worked right through it. I've seen, the bank collapse a few days ago. And I think we have a lot of strategies that can really help you succeed with the challenges you're facing. So, the biggest one I think a lot of realtors are up against, Stacy, is the interest rates, right? People, I think buyers will ask you, what are interest rates? I heard interest rates are high. I heard values are going down. I shouldn't buy right now. It might not be a good time. Is that sort of something you guys are hearing?
Yes, definitely.
So, my thought on that would be a couple of things. So I wouldn't get overly involved in the interest rate discussion. The way I always look at this is you want to have enough information to be educated and to be knowledgeable for your clients and establish that expertise. But you don't want to go down a rabbit hole of what interest rates are and who can give me what rate and what are the programs, because they change daily, right? Certain banks are in the market, certain ones are out, rates are changing daily, products are changing daily. It's a moving target. It's not stagnant. And what I would generally say right now is I've heard from my mortgage originator rates are between 4 and 6%, right? In the 4 to 6% range. And they're going to go, well, what does that mean? And you're going to go, well, I don't necessarily know. I don't like to get in those specifics. I'm not licensed for mortgage lending, but I could connect you with someone that could answer those questions, because my team and I were very skilled to sell the payment. We're very skilled in a way where I don't dwell on what the interest rate is. I don't talk about 7%. I don't really, we talk to clients, and I think when clients reach out to you about buying or selling a home, there's a need. And I think if you're not the agent that's going to buy, help them buy a house or sell their home, they're going to do it with someone else. Would you tend to agree? They want to do something, right? Mm-hmm. And so we need to be the ones to properly educate them. And it's just like if they said to me, Andrew, I can spend $500,000 on a 3-bedroom home, where should I be looking? I would say, well, that's not my expertise. I can tell you what $500,000 loan is going to cost you, but I really need you to contact your agent with this criteria of what you need to buy a home, and they can show you the geographic areas to accomplish those needs. And the same thing goes for the interest rate. So, with that being said, we have ARMs on 5 and 7 years that are going to be in the high 4s and low 5s. The rate is fixed for 5 or 7 years. There's no prepayment penalty. So a lot of times clients are taking these loans knowing that I might refinance within 5 to 7 years or 10 years if it's a 10-year ARM. we're offering those clients the ability to float the interest rate down before they close and refinance that loan within the next 3 years with no lender fees. So they'll get a certificate at closing that says, okay, I did a 7-year ARM at 5%. If rates go down, Andrew's team is going to reach out to me proactively to refinance, and there's going to be no lender fees. So then we go back to the, is it a good time to buy? You know, property values are going down, I heard, rates are awful, I heard, blah, 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 blah. And my response to that would be, well, you want to buy a home because buying is better than renting, right? And we got to go back to that basic. And they say, yeah, but our price is going to go down. And then I think we talk more about our local market, because people are generally, I find, they look at CNN, they look at, you know, MSNBC. They're not looking at what is actually going on in our markets. And I know, like, on a house I had a call on yesterday, Stacy, they had over 30 offers on that house that was listed at 600,000, and my client was offering 7. I talked to an agent today on a $3 million listing, and she had 6 offers, 4 of which were cash. So in our market, there are very high rents, there's very low inventory, and there's still compelling reason to buy a home. There's less transactions, like Stacy had said, because inventory is not good. And I would say that inventory is our biggest challenge as a lender to close more deals. It isn't interest rates. I can sell the interest rate, I can sell the payment. There's a lot of good programs. I think what you need to understand is when the client says, I heard it's not a good time to buy, I heard rates are high, they don't understand it, right, Stacy? Like, do they know what the payment's going to be on their loan? No, they don't. Do they know that it's not a good time to buy? They don't really understand this. So I think what we need to say is, well, look, would you rather buy a house now, potentially with less competition than a year and a half ago, because you want to own a home? And then when rates go down, let's say they go from 6 down to 4% in a year and a half from now, isn't it likely that home prices will go higher when those rates go down, and there'll be more offers on those same homes at higher prices? So would that client that wants to buy a home be better off buying now and refinancing if it costs them $1,000 or $2,000? Or would they rather wait a year and a half, pay their landlord's mortgage for the next 18 months, and then pay an extra $100,000 for that same house because rates went down, right? Isn't it really that simple? And so if we can show these clients an affordable way to get into a home now by offering them a low monthly payment and a down payment that fits their budget, and they're willing to move forward in confidence with the knowledge of what it's actually costing them, it makes sense, Stacy, right? And you know, we're gonna, as a team, my mortgage team, we're gonna close about 25 million in volume. We're a small team, and we're gonna do about 25 million in volume funded in March, which is nearly double what we did in February. So we're seeing a big uptick in business. And I just have to tell you, it's very much about educating the client, and not educating them as to stuff that maybe you don't understand, but educating them on the real estate market locally, and then getting them to a great loan officer that has products and solutions that can get them motivated to make a decision. So, you know, the other piece that I would say that I think is generally very helpful is the inventory challenges. So when you were talking about seminars, Stacy, it thought to my mind, a great seminar idea is basically, I want to buy another property. And it might not be, it could be very vague. It could be, I own a house, I want a bigger house, I want a different location, I want to downsize, I want an investment property, or I want a vacation home, right? I want another property. And I would say a real niche that we have as a company is helping people buy another property in the upsizing, downsizing, different geographic location with a non-sales contingent pre-approval. So for us, there's 2 challenges that enter that space. And it's, I don't have a down payment unless I sell my house, and I don't have enough income to buy a second house before I sell mine. Those are the 2 challenges. And I would say that first thing, we offer home equity lines and bridge loans to access the equity in your home before you sell it. So if you have clients that bought prior to the last 2 years, chances are they have a lot of equity in their home, because home prices went up, what, 35, 40%, Stacy, in Massachusetts over COVID. So you know that those people have equity. Our bridge loans and home equities go up to 100% loan to value. So if the client says, you know, I owe 700,000 and my house is worth $1 million, we have 300,000 of equity that we can tap, okay? So that's the first issue. We tap the equity, we get them that money, we arrange that money for a down payment. Then the other scenario is the client says, well, I don't have enough income to qualify for a new mortgage until I either rent or sell my current property. And I explain that we have a loan program that we will lend to you solely qualifying you on the new mortgage loan with a letter of explanation that I plan to list my house after I buy, or I plan to rent my house after I buy. They don't have to send a rental agreement or a lease to me. They don't need a listing agreement. I don't need a buyer under agreement to buy their home. I don't need any of that. Okay, so now we've provided that buyer with a solution to either get a bigger house, downsize to a 55 plus community, buy in a different location because their employment changed. We're licensed in 22 states. Personally, the company lends in all 50 states, but I'm personally licensed individually and as a branch in 22 states. So the way I easiest explain it is if there's ever a state that you would probably be doing business, more than likely, we're licensed there. All of New England, Jersey, New York, Florida, Arizona, Texas, California. I don't have Oklahoma, I don't have Mississippi, but the company could facilitate a deal there. So we could do that for you as well. But I think the biggest challenge is the rates in the inventory, Stacy. And for us, it's really not the rates. And I know that sounds shocking because I think to the agents listening in, I think that we all have anxiety about the rates. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like my payment, they can't afford it. I have to tell you that clients' incomes have gone up in Massachusetts. There's a lot of good employment. So when I call them and I say your payment's $500 more than it would have been a year ago, but you're buying the house for $75,000 less up front, they can afford the payment. So don't let the interest rate issue be your issue, because it isn't. It's outside of what you do. What you should really say is, I hear rates are in the 4 to 6 range. That's what I've heard from my mortgage professional. And well, what does that mean for me? I don't really know, but we do pre-approvals with a soft credit check, Stacy, on everything. It doesn't cost the client anything. We can check the credit without a credit inquiry hit or a lowering of their score. I can talk to these clients, and I'm going to tell everyone 9 times out of 10, when I start to go over the budget of what they qualify for, the monthly payment, the amount of money they need to buy a house, 9 times out of 10, they move forward. They move forward with their deal. 1 time out of 10, they go, I can't afford to buy a home. Because remember, the alternative is they're renting and rent prices are high. There's not a good alternative, right? Now, if they say, I'm going to move in the next year, maybe they should be renting. If they say I'm living with family and they're, I'm paying 0 and they're going to give me the house in a year, maybe they shouldn't be buying. But that's the 10% of the time, right? Most people have to do something. So, again, it's very general. My ideas here. I don't have like a whole, I absolutely have tons of marketing. I think someone asked for some marketing in the chat box on this. I absolutely have marketing on the bridge loan, the Buy First program, interest rates. I don't know how much time do we have, Stacy? I don't want to go on. Do we have time for a quick interest rate prediction?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, good. So again, rates right now have gotten a lot better in the last week. Rates were bad, guys, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. They went up, okay? Then we had the SVB, the First Republic, the Signature Bank, all the bank stuff, and rates have started to come back down again this week. My most popular programs are a 10-year ARM in the mid-5s, around 5.5%, fixed for 10 years, no points, or a 7-year ARM right around high 4s, low 5s. Those are the most popular. Some people don't care. They still want a 30-year fixed rate at 6.25. That's fine. We give them options, right? I think that you will see rates go down slowly by the end of this year, maybe a half point. Don't expect rates to go down drastically in the next 12 months, but don't worry about that. Get the clients over to your mortgage professional or my team, and we can handle those objections. I think next year we could see rates go low 5s, high 4s. But again, the interest rate issue is very much based on inflation. And when we talk about properties that get 30 offers or 6 offers on a $3 million listing, you're all seeing it. I'm not telling you something you haven't seen. There's other parts of the country where this is not the case. Okay, Florida is not getting 30 offers. Idaho is not getting 30 offers. Those places that went up 100% in appreciation over COVID are now coming down a little bit. So, again, this is really, it is a hard market to navigate, but it's like the basics, Stacy. It's just, we got to get back to the basics. People want to do stuff. You don't want to get tangled up into the interest rate debacle. I can handle it. I have a very creative way of handling it. We lock, we've been locking this month, we've locked 16 million in loans, 16.5 million in the first 15 days of the month. So we're locking about 1 million in loans a day. People are moving forward with deals, guys, left and right. It's just, we need more inventory. So like, we have tons of pre-approved buyers that want to buy homes. If I've got 8 pre-approvals, but there's only 1 home for sale, I'm only closing 1 deal. You're only closing 1 deal. So figure out a way to get to the sellers with the bridge loans, the different options. Because a lot of people, they're sick. They waited the 90 days. They understand where the rates are now. They're moving on with their life. So yeah, if there's anything else, Stacy, that you guys wanted to hear about, I'm happy to touch base on it, but I hope this was helpful.
Yes, 2 things I want to mention. So I'm a huge fan of the adjustable rate mortgage. I will tell you, I bought my primary residence that I live in, and I did a 5-year ARM when I bought it 10 years ago. And even when the rates went way down, what people sometimes forget is when the rates drop, that adjustable rate drops too. So I'm still in a 5-year adjustable that I took out 10 years ago. And is the payment going up now? Absolutely. But then it's capped at how quickly it can go up. And I'm a fan of just riding it out. The payment's a little bit higher now, but it's been a lot lower over the last 5 years. And for the amount of money it costs to refinance, I've got 10 years off. And what people forget sometimes is when you end up refinancing, you end up going back to the 30-year mortgage instead of the what you've already paid in. So I'm a huge fan of adjustable rates, only because I hear real estate agents sometimes tell clients that don't do an adjustable rate, it's too risky. I'm a huge fan of the adjustable rate.
Yeah, it's an option, Stacy, and I find like people don't understand any of this. When they hear adjustable rate, all that they think is what? Subprime. They don't understand the way conforming ARMs work, conventional ARMs work. They might say, oh, I think I heard rates are high. They don't even know what that means. When they say I heard rates are high, that's almost like a question. It's sort of like, what would it cost me to buy a home right now? Could you show me? And so it's really our job. They don't understand any of this. So yeah, and we're all in the same boat, right? Like I'm not in a boat. I'm not doing any refis right now, or very few. So like I have to figure out right off the bat where to replace 50% of my business, right? And then also, like you said, Stacy, those predictions about purchases are probably 25% lower. So now I'm having to replace, if you do the math, 62% of my business, right? And we will, we absolutely will, but we have to change our mindset, right? Like we can't, the call to action is not, oh, just buy a house, rates are 3%, right? It was really a layup for 2 years. And it's, in some ways, it's better now to buy a house, right? And 75% of people that bought during COVID, Stacy, I heard were unhappy with their purchase because they had 2 hours to make a decision. They didn't do a home inspection. They waived financing, and now like the water heater's going, they say, I didn't even really want this house to begin with, but I had no choices. And we were, it's really, and now again, market's competitive. I don't want you to think they can shop, 20 different homes, but it's easier than it was a year ago, no question. So yeah, I appreciate the time, Stacy. And I'm pumped about the event. I'm actually doing an event on Monday with one of the guy on Tom Ferry's team is doing a live Zoom for my crew on Monday. So we're very much into it. We're excited and we appreciate the opportunity.
That's awesome. I also wanted to just point out that Andrew's team is great to work with. I had an issue end of last year, and it was not with your mortgage company. It was one of our agents needed help on a deal, and it was a mass housing deal, and I needed a contact at mass housing. So I was like desperate. So I reached out to Andrew. Andrew happened to be on vacation, but his team reached out to me literally within 3 minutes with a contact at Mass Housing and helped me straighten it out. And it wasn't even a deal of yours, but the team is awesome. Like if you reach out to Andrew and he's not available, somebody's reaching out to you within 30 seconds. So.
Thank you again, Stacy.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. And we will see you on April 5th.
Can't wait.
All right. As a reminder, everybody, each month the LAER Den newsletter goes out. We would love it if you contribute to that. So you can go to laerrealty.com/news. If you have anything you want to contribute, such as exciting announcements, if you got a new additional license or a designation or weddings, births, things like that. Also, as a reminder, all of you guys should be receiving every Monday all of your social media posts for the entire week. So every Monday morning, you should be getting a text and an email with your social media content for the week that you can share right from your phone. If for any reason you're not receiving that, just shoot us an email at happyagent@laerrealty.com so our team can figure out where the disconnect is. I also want to just say thank you to Nicole Choate DeRosa, another big sponsor for our event coming up on April 5th is Coast to Coast Closings. I can't stress enough that not only as real estate agents, all real estate agents are going to have to work a little bit harder to do as much business as last year, but also as a brokerage, we're going to rely on you guys to lean in and work with our closing partners at Coast to Coast Closings and New World Title, because when you work with them, it helps us so that we don't have to go out and we're as a company working hard to make sure that we don't have to go out and say to our agents, we need to increase fees and stuff like that. The way we do that is by asking you instead just to support our partners, because they help alleviate some of the costs that would normally get passed back to our agents. With that said, Nicole and the team at Coast to Coast is sponsoring our cocktail event awards program at our April 5th program with Tom Ferry. And Nicole, any updates on real estate closings you want to share with everybody?
Good morning, almost afternoon to everybody. Andrew, I thought that was an amazing information that you gave to everyone. Going to kind of go off of what Andrew was saying. Oh, he's not on anymore. On what Andrew was saying, a huge thing that we keep seeing, both Cheryl and I, are home inspections. So you guys, your buyers are waiving the home inspections and they're about to close, or they get to a purchase and sale and they want to renegotiate. Usually the seller's attorney is put in as is, you can't negotiate. But I found it interesting, Massachusetts has filed a bill to not make the home inspection a contingency, which I think would be amazing. So it's not going to be, you guys aren't going to have to use that to battle whether you get the house or not. It's going to be a standard part that home inspection is included in an offer, which I think, I hope it passes, and I think that would be great, because
that's super interesting. I think that's how Florida is. Like,
yes,
everybody gets the opportunity.
Exactly. And I think that's great because, you know, we're turning away from being closing attorneys and helping agents or asking questions to kind of being litigators and helping a buyer, because of course everybody wants us to get to the closing table, and you feel horrible that a buyer's going through something or found something prior to a closing, but you also, you know, you waived your home inspection. So I think that would be a great act. I'm going to follow the bill, and once I get updates, I will let you guys all know.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Nicole. And we'll see you on April 5th.
You will.
Let's see. We are just about at the end of our program. Let's see if we have any other announcements. As always, you can check out all of our upcoming training programs at laerrealty.com/training. Some of the training programs coming up, we have our agent services, LAER agent services. So this program will just talk about the transition from LAER Career Den over to our agent services. If you need help with Canva, we have some great classes coming up with Canva. As you know, all of our marketing is built off of Canva, and lots of LAER marketing training coming up. You can always watch as well the replays. Lately, we've been putting most of our replays at youtube.com/LAER training. We'll continue to put them on LAER University as well. But the reason we put them on YouTube is just like the reason we've been rebuilding the LAER agent services. It's just easier for agents to access. You don't need passwords and stuff like that. You can just go over and watch the program. As always, you can visit any of our LAER offices. You're welcome to utilize any of our spaces. You can go to laerrealty.com/office access. And as always, we're looking for more agents to join committees. We have several committees that meet once a month by Zoom. So if you have an interest in having a voice in what the company is offering as far as tools, training, technology, we would love to hear your voice. With that, it is 12 o'clock. I want to just make one last request or ask of everybody who's on the program today. We are looking for more great real estate agents. And I say this because just in the last I'd say the last 2 months, there are lots of real estate brokerages that are closing. So if you hear of a real estate agent who's out of brokerage that's closing, typically they're much smaller offices and they're looking for a great home, please refer them to us. We are always interested in talking to additional great agents. The best way to refer somebody in is just through the Happy Agent system. So if you know of a great agent thinking about making a change, send it over to happyagent@laerrealty.com and we will reach out to them. With that, our next sales meeting will be on April 12th. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today for our monthly meeting. Thanks, everyone.